Hi there, you're at the Cardano Wyckoff analysis session. So last week the topic was Cardano is going to challenge 80 cents, and indeed it's successfully passed that mark and gone even higher. So now let's look at where it's heading. So looking at the weekly chart, as always, bigger picture first. This was the 80 cents line that we talked about, or I put into the title. As of now, it has performed way better. So it's last week it stopped at around or close to 90 cents. That's where the automatic reaction during December stopped at or closed at. Now it's trying to go past that, this over here. So you see this automatic reaction low, right, at around 86-85 cents, and then eventually this week it opens above and continue to try to trade above this line. So in the Wyckoff stage terms, last week we asked, would this be a preliminary support or would this still be a late stage distribution? So given what we have seen, it doesn't seem like it is preliminary support, like the very early stage of accumulation. It's more like another sign of weakness over here, and then now we're having another leg out. Whether this would lead to an up thrust, that's a possibility. So if the price successfully stays above this purple line, it will eventually go test this green line at close to $1.20. That's where the blind climax closed, but not the highest point during the blind climax. It was way over $1.3. So the up thrust may retest that level, although this time the distribution wasn't as crazy as what happened in 2021. So here, after seeing this weekly, let's go to the daily. So we talked about this, we put in the PSY tag, we expect the buying climax to come, yeah? So that's completely following the pattern stages. And after the buying climax, we would expect some automatic reaction, some trace back, and then there may be a second test or even up thrust. So whether those would happen depends on what happens in the weekly time frame. If the weekly is really riding the tide all the way to up thrust, then in the daily, even though there may be retracement, it could be shallow along this yellow line at around 84 cents, or comes down to where this top edge of the blue box is. That's, as of this moment in time, would be around somewhere from 80 cents to 83 cents. So depending on which day it comes down to test it. Just to make it simple, let's think about it. The price is going to linger around the center line of the yellow box at around 83 cents, 84 cents. If the retracement do happen, because I mentioned a couple of times in the daily chart, in the daily setting, the Wyckoff stages can happen very quickly. Each day can be one stage as quickly as that. So by the time I do the video next week, it can go past 3 or 4 stages or even more. So I have to talk about these scenarios to you now. So if it really happens this way, and then it comes naturally with a second test, this test can be low or lower than BC, or it can be higher and we just call it up thrust by then. So it doesn't matter, you can treat it as just a test. If there's stronger demand, then it becomes an up thrust. So I'll put in a second test here for now. So these are the 2 stages that we're going to expect the price to show us in the coming few days, or like within the next 2 weeks. So there can be a range depending on what kind of positive news are coming out. So this is where it is now. So the trend itself I have to adjust the trend box because of the momentum, the change in momentum. This selling over here, kind of normal because that's going past the center line, the yellow center line, but it proves there's sufficient people getting in. It can be FOMO, so be careful. But looking at the bigger picture, it seems like there's is an interesting scenario because it's somewhere between an upthrust or just a higher LPSY. The volume themselves looks kind of good to support this rise. So that's the daily picture. Remember, the buying climax may not be over yet. It can still go higher. The last time it tested at around early March was the $1.20 range, and this time it can surely test it as well, but it depends on whether this trend continues. If not, if the retracement happens and then a second test comes or an upthrust comes, it can still get to that point to test